Hello and welcome to Top Kid Edutainment, where we catapult children to the top by helping them develop from the inside out so that they can end up becoming successful international citizens and they can achieve success in any area of their lives, and that is academically, in extracurriculum, physically, psychologically, mentally, and emotionally, and even socially, be able to develop safe and healthy relationships with themselves and with other people, then they can end up becoming successful international citizens. Thank you so much for connecting with me. Again, my name is Angela Karanja and popularly known as Top Teacher Angela. On this video, I'm going to show you the 4 principles of prosperity, the 4 principles of success that every child that wants to become a top kid must align themselves with. And these principles are not just for children, they will work for any person. Align yourself with them and you will see yourself become successful. You know what? The principles, they are just universal. If you align yourself with them, success has no choice but to follow you. Now, let's get onto the 4 principles of prosperity and success. Fantastic. Now, let's move on to the 4 irrefutable principles of prosperity and success, and how to help your child align with these principles and attract success effortlessly. Right. The 4 irrefutable principles of prosperity, we say they are universal. They will work for anyone regardless. And what I'm suggesting is align yourself with them, and prosperity and success will follow you all the days of your life. Now, let's go on to power principle number 1, and that is personal awareness. Over and over again, we've been instructed to know ourselves, and in all the books, all the sages, all the, everyone who wrote, everyone, the rabbis, the prophets, anyone really, they have said, know thyself. All the great teachers. What is really knowing yourself? Right, let's start with knowing yourself unlocks all the potential within and makes you unstoppable. And this is what we ought to teach our children. What then must our children know about themselves? Certainly not just their names. I would say a good place would be to find out what they already know about themselves. Ask them, who do they really think they are? And I'm not saying this is not one of those TV shows that shows you who your parents and your grandparents are. This has nothing to do with that. In fact, some of the information that is passed down from our grandparents and our parents is really what constricts the child so much that they never really discover who they are. So, the knowing yourselves that I'm talking about is really a good place to start would be by telling them that they are a human being, a special creation from the creator of all things, a masterpiece. Tell them no one is like you. You're here to express yourself like no one else, really. They are an expression of the mighty creator. And no one else is like your child. Can you imagine how powerful our children would feel if they knew just this one fact? My goodness, I think it would eliminate low self-esteem. It would eliminate comparison, competition. We would see more children, become more confident, bring forth their talents, their gifts, and stop being clones. I believe that depression would be eliminated, because if you think about depression being anger turned inside out, a child who really knows who they are, they wouldn't want to be angry at themselves, because they already accept themselves as who they are and they know that they are special. I also believe suicide cases would reduce. The knowing that you are on a mission, you're on a mission and there's something you've got to do in this world that no one else can do. My God, that is powerful, because You don't want to go. I mean, you don't want to commit suicide and not complete what you are put on earth to do. You just want mission completer, you know? And I believe we would reduce the cases of suicide. And what a world it would be if every child understood exactly who they are and they believed in their purpose and held on to that mission, until it was completed. Right. I remember when I truly learned at a very young age of who I really was. I remember the determination I felt, the determination that made me want to be everything that I could ever be. I made the decision that I was never gonna get sick because I didn't want to get sick and not be able to do or achieve what I've been put on earth to do, because I saw children around me get sick and die. And I wasn't going to die. I had made up my mind. I wasn't going to die. Yeah? I needed to accomplish my mission. Uh, to be honest, back then, I did not even know what my mission was. But I knew I wasn't going to die before I completed my mission. And believe me, even in the midst of all that poverty, sickness, abuse all around me, I cannot remember one day when I got sick. This is serious stuff. You would imagine that lack of proper nutrition and hard work would drag me down. But the young girl knew she was here on a mission and she wasn't going anywhere until the mission was completed. And that is what I knew about myself. I knew there was something special about me. And I was convinced that there was something I was going to do in this world that no one else would ever be able to do. You see, that is good. And that's what we need to teach our children, to know exactly who they are, that they are special, that they have something special. They have a mission that only they can complete. The other thing I learned about myself was that I was the creator of my destiny. The choice was mine where I ended, the route the route I take. And boy, I wanted so much. I started dreaming of all the good things that would make my life better, because I already started loving myself, and I wanted to see all the good things. And I believe that's exactly why I created that land. I spoke earlier about a land, this beautiful land. It was like a castle, and I found myself living there in my mind, in my image, and that image was driving me. That's what was driving me, and I wanted it so much to happen. Also, at an early age, I started achieving things that were incredible. And because I believed in myself so much, I started achieving things that other children did not seem to be able to achieve. Sometimes as parents, we think that this is complex information for a child. Oh, I don't think so. Imagine this. If a child can master an accent just by listening, hey, I tell you what, then we ought to know that we are dealing with intelligent bundles. Children are more intelligent than we will ever think, because they can master almost anything, Right. This know thyself has no age limit. I believe any child can know themselves at any age. They may not know everything, but that should not stop us from letting them know exactly who they are. Does your child know that they have infinite intelligence manifested and expressed in themselves? The other thing I learned about myself was that I was the creator of my destiny. The choices that I made, they were gonna take me to where I needed to be. And boy, I really wanted to end up in a good ground, And I believe that's when I started dreaming about this beautiful land where I wanted to live. And I made that image in my mind of myself and how I would live. And that was the image that was driving me, right? Right. Now, what I'm saying is this know thyself I believe any child can know themselves at any age. They may not know everything, but that should not stop us from letting them know who they are. Right. Does your child know that the infinite intelligence is manifested and expresses itself in each one of us, so that no one is more able or disabled than anyone else? And in that matter, right. Does your child know that the infinite intelligence and infinite potential is manifested and expresses itself in each one of us, and therefore no one is able or more disabled than the other, no matter what our physical eyes see? Does your child know that they are unique? They have a talent, they have a gift that nobody else has, and nobody else can do something that they can do? Does your child know that they can think of anything and they can achieve it? Do they know that? Are they aware of that? It's time to take children back to themselves and not try to fit them into the society's limited view. Because I believe that there is a power that flows through each one of us. I tell you, that power that flows through the mightiest man flows through your child. And in the thinking, in the mind, that's where the child can do anything and can formulate that power into anything that they want to be. Right. Let's go back again to personal awareness. This is a very powerful principle to understand. When a child understands this, they begin to explore and push themselves to discover more and more, and therefore they cannot be defeated. They just cannot be defeated when they understand exactly who they are and how powerful they are, right? So it's time to take children back to themselves and not try to fit them into the society's limited view. The power that flows through the mightiest man flows through your child and you and my child as well. And they have the power to take it and direct it to serve themselves. Why then do we not encourage our children to know who they are, and instead we make them chickens? We make chickens out of eagles, My goodness, anyway, it's sad. Right, anyway, let's go back to this personal awareness, because it's a very, very powerful principle. And what I'm suggesting is, when a child understands exactly who they are, they can push themselves even farther and faster, because they understand that nothing is impossible. They know who they are, and they know that there is an infinite power that flows through them. Right? Do you know what? I remember seeing children around me dying because of disease, and others because of hunger. Yet others died. I don't know why they died, but I remember saying to myself, I will not die from any of this sickness or anything else. I'm living to see my dream come true. And I tell you, apart from a few niggly coughs here and there, I really never got sick when I was young, even considering that I wasn't having the best of the nutrition. I remember telling myself, if I was going to break the curse of mediocrity in the village, right. I also remember saying to myself, gosh, this is too much. The girls here, they don't do anything with their lives. They just hang around. They putter around all their lives, and they got children when they were very, like, young girls are getting children. And I was saying, my God, what is all this about? I was feeling this is not my space, but there's nothing I could do physically, because I was a child and that is where I was supposed to live. But in my mind, I was a totally different person. I was a princess. I was living in a castle. I mean, I'm sure if I told anyone that dream then, they would have just been laughing at me because they're looking at you and they're comparing the picture they can see and the one you can see in your mind. So I guess I just kept quiet with it, It's like I knew they were gonna laugh. So it was just another thing. But anyway, I knew who I was. I remember picturing where I was going to go to my school. Um, when I was in standard 8, class 8, I remember thinking that I was going to go to the best school. And I tell you what, I wanted the best. I just wanted the best, right? I just wanted the best. Right. This is what I mean by knowing yourself, because if you know who you are, you also know what you deserve. You can imagine this. I have a very small body frame, but I cannot remember one day when I felt intimidated by anything or anyone. Imagine walking without shoes all my childhood and having feet that were cracked. You would think they would bleed. The cracks are so big, you would think they would bleed. But you know what? That did not stop me from believing that one day I would wear the best shoes. I would have the softest feet. I would have the things that I have today. It's what I used to figure in my head then. You see, I imagine today that I can have a foot massage and a pedicure anytime I want. Probably more times than a regular person. And I remember one day going to my grandfather's house, and one of my aunties, she said, you know what? I'm not gonna sleep in the same bed with Angela because I don't want her cracking my feet. I don't want her cracks to hurt me. And you know what? That could have broken me, but it didn't. I felt bad, but you know what? I always looked up to my image. What is the image I had? The image I had of myself and the person I wanted to be and the person I was becoming. That image was so strong, it wouldn't take anything to scratch it. And what I'm saying here is, when a child understands exactly who they are, I'm telling you, no circumstances is greater than their mind. Absolutely nothing can break them. And I have seen this with so many children that I have worked with so many people that have overcome difficulties. And I can also speak for myself because I have gone through it. The other day I joined Facebook, and the most astonishing thing is most of my schoolmates in high school, they didn't even recognize me because I was all this transformed girl. And the person they knew was someone in tatters. Someone in tatters, someone who first went to school, they didn't even know how to speak proper English. And I was just there. But you know what? There's one thing they didn't know, but there's one thing I knew, that I was running in my head. In my head, I was running. Everyone else may have seen me in the physical, standing still, looking all poor and miserable. But you know what? In my head, I had another picture. I knew who I was and I knew what I wanted to be. And things like training myself to speak proper English, just being able to speak good English that people will understand. I had to train myself. Why? Because the picture in my head was that person, was that girl who would be able to communicate with anyone in the world. That's why I taught myself to speak good English, and I taught myself to speak other languages. Right? So really what I'm saying is, if your child can understand who they are and what they are capable, and they can formulate that image, that self-image, my goodness, nothing can break them. And Now we move on to the next point on the personal awareness. Our point is, how can we help our child to develop the personal awareness and align themselves with the principles of this? Right. Let's move on to how we can help our children develop personal awareness and align themselves with this principle so that they can be successful. Right. This is how. We can help them by helping them affirm who they are again and again. Remember, repetition is the first law of learning. For example, we can say, you can ask them to say, I am an exceptional child. It may look funny in the beginning because in the society we are told not to think so highly of ourselves. We are told not to praise ourselves. But you know what? This is not going to happen unless we teach our children to feel like that, to believe like that of themselves. Like, for example, you can tell to your child, I am a very exceptional child. I am one of a kind. All things are possible to me, and I can achieve anything I want. I have the power to determine my destination. My life is up to me. Right. When they are younger, you got to tell them this over and over again. And as they get older, they will pick it up by themselves and they will be their own encouragers and motivators. Remember, as they think, so they will be. And whatever you repeat to your child often, they're going to pick it up. And that is what they're going to become. Right? I wish I could get everyone to understand this powerful concept. All the problems that we experience, all the problems that parents complain about our children, I think most of them would be gone. Imagine how many problems would be eliminated by just understanding this principle. See, things like guilt. For example, when a child does something wrong, they would quickly forgive themselves because they love themselves and they know that they're on a journey and they're growing. They understand who they are. They know that they are human beings and they can make mistakes. They would stop. They would forgive themselves and move on. And then, for example, things like blame. If your child understands exactly who they are and they are the creator of their own destiny, they will know that the choices they make are so powerful and they really are the creator of their own lives. So they will go ahead and make the choices that serve them. Fantastic. I really hope that we get to understand this principle of personal awareness. And let's come back to this information again and again and again and again. Because we need to understand it so we can teach it to our children. Fantastic. Now, our second power principle is praise and gratitude. My God, this is my all-time favorite. Just to imagine the power locked in this principle, it just baffles me just how much power is locked up in praise and gratitude. You know what? Praise has also been called the power of increase. The power of increase, the power to increase anything. It's been known that when you praise something, it increases. And the reason I'm putting together praise and gratitude is that they're just the same thing. To praise is to be filled with gratitude. You're filled with, you're so grateful for whatever has happened that you're actually praising it. It's to be thankful. It's to see the good in self and in others. And like I said, what you praise increases. Praise a child and their confidence and self-esteem rockets. The power of praise is so huge that many farmers have recognized the power in this principle and they have known to praise their crop to increasing. Can you imagine if crops can be praised to increase? How much more can we do with people? That means if you praise people, they become better. Right. As you praise the child, their self-esteem increases, and as it increases, they go on to praise and encourage themselves, and then they learn to praise and encourage other people. And the more they praise themselves, the more they grow. And the more they grow, the more they get confident. And the more they get confident, the more they praise other people. And the more they praise other people, the more other people want to be with them. Wow, this is good. The more they praise, the more they receive praise in return. Because remember, we talked about praise being the power of increase. You praise someone and they like you. They will do anything for you. And that's how they get returns. See, a thankful child or a thankful person, they tend to be one of the happiest people. Why do you think the people who are grateful are the happiest? Because it comes back to them. And this is what we ought to teach our children, that when they send out grateful vibes to anyone or to themselves, it comes back, and it's like it goes out and comes back with cousins and cousins, and it tends to attract more good. You know what? I call this the praise and increase cycle. Right? You praise a child, right? They receive it. They're so happy. They're so happy and grateful. They learn to praise. They probably give it back to you or give it to someone else. And because they are giving someone else, the person gives it it's like they're sending and it comes back, sending and it comes back. And the more they have, the more they will give. Wow. As a child continues to praise themselves and receive praise from the outside world, their confidence becomes like diamond hard. Praise, it sends out good vibration and keeps you at a level where you receive only the highest good. When we are in the mood of praise, we rise to a higher level, both ourselves and the one that we praise. Look, like I said, the happiest people are those who are thankful in all situations. Again, let's look at a child who is praised and elevated and compare them to a child who is criticized and constantly cut down. The one seems to always be happy and relaxed, and you can see them shine through so many situations, no matter what they're going through. One who is constantly criticized looks like they have poison in their bones, and it's like they're dying. They have no life with them. And you know what? Doctors today tell us that the cells of our bodies expand in strength and capacity and intelligence when we are thankful and grateful. Right? So, what I can say is this just something, there's things that we can explain and there's others that we can't explain, but out of everything, I know that praise and gratitude works. It just puts you at a vibration where you are so elated and it looks like good things just keep coming back to you, right? And it looks like everyone wants to be with you because you're a grateful person, right? I'd like you to carry out this experience for the next 3 days. Take it for 3 days, right? Let's start with 3 days. Start today by praising and complimenting your child for even the least significant progress that they have made. You could even say to them, "Oh, that is so sweet of you. How you smiled. Oh, it's amazing how you lift your fingers. Oh, it's amazing you're able to do that. Wow." Or you can say to them, "Wow, you are so exceptional. I guarantee you that your child will start expressing themselves more. Why? Because they are at a level where they feel relaxed. Praise also relaxes the person that you've praised, right? And you know what? Within no time, the child will start expressing themselves even more, right? And this is going to be just another way of you getting to know who your child really is, right? Another example could be to tell them, you are the cutest girl in the whole world, or you're the cutest boy in the whole world just because you're mine. Yeah, just to help them catch this praise vibration and fire and believe, let them believe in themselves so much. Soon they will start praising themselves and cheering themselves into achieving things. Let me tell you something. When a child can cheer themselves on, we again are talking here about an unstoppable child, because even when there is no one else around them to praise them, this child will cheer themselves on, right? They understand the power of praise, and they will feel they are capable of doing so many things. And then you will hear them saying, I can do this easily. Maybe sometimes I may need a little help from my mom or dad or a grown-up helper, but I can do this easily. The confidence that they get when you praise them. And then, how happy you feel when your child is a child that is able to praise themselves and to praise other people. It's amazing. Ask yourself, when is it that you're so in tune with your child? Is it when they're complaining and have negative self-talk and negative talk about other people, and when they're just grumbling about how things are not good or about how they're not getting enough? Is it that time that you're more in tune with the child? Or is it when they're so grateful, they're saying to you, Mom, or Dad, or whoever it is, they call you by name, they'll say, oh, I am so thankful for what you've done. I am so grateful for what... When they are at such a vibration, you want to give them more, because they put you at a position where you want to give more. And that's how we get more in tune with them. Look at the children who are grateful, children who are, children who are happy, and children who praise. They attract good friends. Yeah, they attract good friends because people want to be around such people, Children that praise others, they send out good. And you know what? The natural law of sowing and reaping, it comes right back to them. Yeah? Children that are aligned with this principle of praise not only increase in their own lives, but out of their overflow. They increase the friendships they have, and also the people who are willing to help them. People are attracted to them. Yeah? I'll give you an example. When I was very young, my grandfather and my uncle, they used to shower me with thousands of praise, And I also believe that's where I got most of my confidence. And that's how comes I started performing exceptionally, because I came to a point where I believed I could, I was comfortable. I was able to do anything because I had been told over and over again. And then I took up this praise thing. I became the kind of person who just encourages people, who praises people, because out of the overflow, I became that child, and I attracted good friends, I attracted people, and I'm telling you what, as much as my childhood was difficult, dogged with poverty and abuse from my house, my goodness, I had so much fun with my friends and at school, because I was just the person that was always I had friends. I love my childhood. I love it. I know you might think that it was so difficult and everything. And indeed it was, when I think about it and think, in fact, I wonder how I went through it. But I'm convinced that the person I became, because of this gratitude, because of this feeling of gratefulness, yeah, it just made me go through things, because no matter what was happening, I was just happy. I knew that everything would work out for good. I don't know how, but I knew that everything would work out for good. I was just I can tell you, I was not happy when I was being beaten. No, I don't like being beaten. I don't like being hard at abuses. I don't like sometimes sleeping hungry. I didn't like all that. But you know what? I was just grateful that I was alive. I was grateful that I could see that image of myself. I was grateful that I was walking every day. Every day, I was getting closer to my dream. I was just happy about that. And I was happy about the friends that I made. I was happy. I was just happy to be able to encourage someone else. Wow. This, I love it so much. And even today, I'm always looking for opportunities where I can send out a good word to someone. And I teach children that. And you can see the happiness when they adopt this principle. I mean, I have a 5-year-old daughter now. And I think she has adopted this principle so well that she walks around praising everything, praising little flowers. She'll praise the dogs. She'll praise the cats. She's the one who'll praise a girl or a boy walking on the street with their head down. She will say something good to them. She's looking for opportunities to praise. But you know what? She's the same girl that teachers say that she's always happy. But why is she happy? Regardless of whatever is happening, she will, when children do bad things to her, she will confidently tell them that that is not nice, but she will always be happy. It's just amazing. And I'm not just talking about her because she's my daughter. I can tell you most of the children that I've worked with, when they adopt this principle of gratitude, oh my God, the happiness, the joy, it just changes everything. It just changes everything. And I wish that we could all teach our children to develop this awareness so that they can adopt this principle of praise. And now, the next bit we're going to look at is how to help your child develop an attitude of praise and align themselves with this praise principle. Right. What I can say is begin by planting the seed of praise in them and encourage them to begin praising themselves. Right. And what I can say, begin the praise cycle. Right. Plant the seed and then water it. Continue to praise them. And you know what? What's going to happen is that they are going to pick it up. They are going to have an overflow. I'm telling you, they will have an overflow. And then they will start doing it to you and to other people around them. And they will start their own gratitude and praise and increase cycle. Encourage them to see the good in everything, in themselves, in other people. Encourage them to be the child that looks for the good in other people and notices it and compliments it. And encourage your child to appreciate life and be grateful for what they have and what they are, and to be hopeful for the future, understanding that this praise will bring more to them. Right? That's what we can do to help our children develop and align themselves with this powerful principle of praise. Fantastic. Now, let's move on to the third principle, which is powerful and safe relations. Right. This is another powerful principle. Wow. Most of the people in business and most successful people will say to you that this power principle of powerful and safe relationships is commonly known as the mastermind. And anyone who is successful, talk to any successful person, old and young, they will tell you that they have aligned themselves with this principle. The power of the mastermind. My goodness. The power locked in powerful and safe relationships can just not be understated. No great person ever made it without the help of other useful people and other, normally they will talk and relate with other great people. Human beings are made for relations. We are built to have relationships, but these relations can either be a blessing or a curse. And you know what? Not all relationships are safe, healthy, and helpful. For any child or person to be successful, they will need to align themselves with safe people, right? The relationships we get involved in, some by choice, others by not choice, can definitely influence us. Who is your child's influence? You may think that your child is too young to choose the right friends, but let me state this. Your child will only choose those friends and they will gravitate to those friends that they are in harmony with, right? Over the years, I have seen many parents say to their kids, oh, don't relate to that one. Oh, don't go to that person's place. Oh, don't, just don't relate with this person. Don't relate. And they're trying to choose for them who they should relate with. There's one thing that we need to understand, that your child will only gravitate to those people that they are in harmony with. So when you see your child gravitating towards friends who are not safe, that is the image they hold of themselves. Because if they recognize, they were aware of who they are and how important they are, and how and they took themselves highly, they would only gravitate to similar friends. Because what we know is that like attracts like. Birds of a feather flock together, right? For example, if your child tends to gravitate to other friends who have lower self-esteem, I mean, you need to check it out, because your child must have some low esteem, right? And sometimes the children with low self-esteem will tend to gravitate to bullies, because the bullies will confirm their hopelessness and worthlessness. Your child's self-image and esteem can be recognized in the choices of friends they make. So that's why I'm talking about, that's why all these, even as we talk about each principle by itself, we need to realize that they are all related. You cannot have one without the other. Because for the child to have a high self-esteem, they need to know who they are. And it's by knowing who they are, yeah, that they're going to praise themselves, and it's in praising themselves they're going to have an overflow, and it's by having an overflow they're going to start praising and encouraging other people, and it's by praising and encouraging other people that they make and attract good and safe friends, right? If a child is constantly in trouble, don't blame the friends. Establish what it is in themselves that makes them attract the friends who get in trouble. Suggest to them that they will only attract and cling to people that they are in harmony with, right? Make them aware of that, because if they can see it in their friends, that's what they see. We tend to only see, we tend to see what is in others, a reflection of ourselves. So the friends we hang around with are really a reflection of ourselves. So don't blame the child. For example, a bullied child. Let's take a child who is constantly bullied. Right. I believe that the bullied child has a self-image that has been criticized. And you know what? The bullies, it's like they can smell, because they are in harmony with this. Yeah? And what happens is they pick on this child and they go and bully them. Yeah? And what happens is that the child who has been bullied just confirms themselves as a victim, because they've labeled themselves as such. This may sound very harsh, but you know what? If a child knows exactly who they are, right? They will, this is just not going to happen. They will do something. First of all, they will either speak up, they will report the person, they will have no fear, of the bully, and because they have good and a supportive friendship, the bully will most likely not even pick on them, right? But what normally happens is that the bully will choose that child, that particular child, who they know that they have none of this. Yeah, this child that have none of this, a child that they know that will feel sorry for themselves, right? And this just drives the bullied child worse, and it just makes them worse and worse. And anyone who has a child who has been bullied knows how this can drive. They can drive the child even worse into the trenches in many areas of their lives. It can affect their performances both academically and socially. What normally happens in many cases is that the bullied child is cushioned, and perhaps some of them are taken away from the school, or they are protected. That way they become even more vulnerable. Imagine if we were to teach our children to face the bully, and by this I don't mean for the child to put themselves in danger. No, I mean going back to the first principle of personal awareness. You know what? A bully's worst nightmare is a child who knows exactly who they are, you know, and that they know that the bully cannot harm them, right? And this particular child I'm talking about, this let's call the child a top kid. The top kid will have known exactly who they are. They will have great friends around them, and they will already be the child that encourages people, the child that is always happy, the child that is always smiling. Oh, it is hard to hurt someone who's always in such a vibration. It is hard to be nasty to them. It's hard to bully them. Yeah? Then what happens on the other flip side is that the child, even those confident, the other flip side is that, so what I'm saying is, we need to teach our children to be able to recognize safe friendships, right? Your child should be able to become a friend that they want to have. It starts from them. It's not about other people. It's about them. They must know what they value. They must know their own value. And they must know values. They must have values. This way, they will be able to identify other children or other people who are in harmony and who they can click with. Again, children must know who they are, what their value is. And also they must know what they value. What is it that they value? Right? And then they must also have some values. Right? Safe relationships are very important and powerful for a child. Safe relationships are very important and powerful for a child. In a safe relationship, they learn from each other. They learn to tolerate each other. And they love authentic love. And they learn to express themselves fully without being judged. And they also learn to be themselves. And they don't have to cow down to anyone's beliefs or anything to be in a safe relationship. No. A safe relationship allows you to be who you are, and it allows you to grow, And it's all about understanding. And the other person does not demean or hate you because you're not like them or you don't like how they do things. It's just that way. They let you be the person that you are supposed to be. I'll tell you a recent case of a child that I work with, whose best friend at school spat on her. This was the response of this young girl. This is a story as she told me. Right. Do you know today? I'm not going to mention the other girl's name because obviously of privacy. But this girl, the little girl goes, do you know today, Lucy, this is not the real name of the child that spat at her, but this is how it goes. Do you know today, Lucy spat at me? I went, they did? She did? Yeah, and that was not acceptable. Now I said to her, so tell me, what happened? And then the little girl said, I said to her, no, thank you. I don't like that. I don't like it. It's not acceptable. And now I'm going to report you to the lunchtime supervisor and I'm going to report you to the teacher. Oh. I went, and you reported her? And the little girl goes, yeah. I reported her. I went straight to the supervisor and to the lunchtime supervisor and I reported her. And then I went to the teacher and I reported her. And then I went back to her and said to her, you know, Lucy, you can go on being my friend, but I will not accept you doing nasty things to me. Not at all. This is a speech from a 5-year-old girl. Right? Tell me, this girl, when she told me the story, I just thought, my God, this is powerful. For one, she recognizes her worth and she knows that she's not to be spat on. And then she recognizes that she has support. So she goes out and seeks support. Right? And then she comes back and she says to the girl who did that she can continue being her friend. You see, forgiveness comes in here. But then she also sets a boundary. She says, but she can only continue being her friend if she's not going to be nasty. Do you see? This is a 5-year-old girl we are talking about. And this is an example of a child who understands the principle of powerful and safe friends. Obviously, she has decided that the supervisor can support her. She knows the people. She has created such a relationship that they can come and help her. And she's confident to go and solicit for help when it's needed. My goodness, I think this case is a powerful case because what I saw in this case was the personal awareness principle, and I also saw the power of safe friendship, right? I tell you, friends are the greatest, but when they are not safe, they can become enemies. And the worst thing about friends who are enemies, friends are great, and having great friends is very, very nice, safe and great friends. But you know what? When friends start becoming not safe, then they become frenemies. And you know what? I view frenemies as friends, but they are also your enemies. And these, I think, are worse than an enemy because they will eat you and then they will spit you. Now, let me go back to the example of the child that we spoke about before. There's one thing, she did not stand there feeling sorry for herself. She knew who she was and how she should be treated. And then on top of that, she solicited the help of grown-ups to make sure that, that she was kept safe. And then later on, she told her mom, you see, she's got friends around. She has created a friendship around her. The thing is, the most exciting thing is, later on I spoke to the girl And I found out that the girl who had spat on her actually ended up being her best friend. Why? Because this girl set safe boundaries, right? First, she did not let what was done to her affect who she really was. And then she went on to say to the girlfriend, I really still want your friendship. But she set boundaries. That's what I'm saying. This is what I am saying. This is why I keep insisting that even when they are very young, we can teach them these principles and they will get them. I mean, I'm so excited that I speak about this case because it just it just goes to show me that we can teach children anything at any age. And I'm so proud of this girl, right? Now, let's dive right into how to help your child develop powerful and safe relations and align themselves with this principle of powerful and safe relations. Again, what I can say is help your child realize who they are, who they really are, right? Let's go back to power principle. Always take them back to power principle 1. Let them understand that they attract people who think in the same lines as them. Remind them of birds of a feather flocking together. Yeah? Let them realize what values they stand for. And because the values they stand for, that's the same values the friends on the same vibration will stand for. For example, a child who is laughed at because they are poor or disabled, they value of equality. Yes, let's help our children realize what is it that they value. Because, for example, if a child values equality, they're going to hang around with other children who value the same. Yeah? If, for example, your child is a bully, they're going to attract other bullies or they're going to be bullied. Right? If your child is helpful, they're going to be helped. Let's help children realize that safe people don't burden you with their secrets, so that no one is asking your child to keep a secret for them. Yeah? The thing is, friendship based on giving and receiving. Let them realize as well that friendship is based on giving and receiving. And if they're giving too much without receiving from the other person, then they ought to be looking at that relationship. Because, I mean, you cannot just be giving, right? The other person cannot just be receiving. That is not, that is someone who is using your child, right? Let them, other thing you can try and ask them, how do they feel after they have spent time with the child, with the other friend? Do they become a better person by spending time with the other child? Right? And do they end up doing things that they really want to do, or do they end up doing things that they really don't want to do? Because if they're ending up doing things, feeling compelled to do things that they don't want to do, then that's not a safe relationship. And then, this I like. Do the other person cheer them? Do they encourage them? And does your child cheer the other child or encourage them? Because safe relationships are based on cheering each other and encouraging each other. And that's really what should be happening in a safe relationship. And that's how the children can develop powerful and safe relationships. Fantastic. Wow, now let's move on to the all-time power principle number 4. This one, this has been I think this one, I have perfected it. It's called persistence. My goodness. This 4th irrefutable principle of prosperity is what produces what the world calls miracles. My goodness, persistence Is the insurance policy against all failures and knockdowns. I tell you what, if you have persistence, you can never fail. Because even if you fall down, you will rise. Hey, this I can say has taken me to more places, has given me more things, and launched more of my dreams than anything else. I like how Calvin Coolidge coined it, and he did it very well. He says, nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistent. And persistence alone and determination are omnipotent. The slogan, press on, has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. Is this ever so true? Persistence is the inner knower that keeps you saying, no matter what, no matter how it looks outside, I will keep going. I will put one foot in front of the other one. I will ignore everything else that is happening, and I will keep going. My goodness, persistence is that ironclad decision to keep going no matter what. It is the hang in there, the hold on, never giving up attitude. It is that undivided attention towards your goal that binds you from any objections. It blinds you from any objections. Persistence. Where you find persistence, you will find faith close by. Faith and belief. You know, you have heard that faith is a mover of mountains. Wow, it is so important we recognize that persistence and faith, they are powers that we cannot see in the physical. But we sure do know the results of these two powers. Again, I go back to Calvin's quote. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, press on, has solved and will always solve the problems of human race. Wow. Wow. Like any other self-attitude and principle that we have mentioned before, this can only be taught. It cannot be forced. It can be acquired and mastered. And those that master this are the ones that enjoy the goodness of life and everything that life has to give. My goodness, this has been, this has been the rod, this has been the persistent is what took me through my early years. It's just not giving up attitude, knowing that yes, the day is coming when all these troubles will be gone. It's just that going on, keep going on and ignoring everything else, ignoring the naysayers, ignoring the circumstances. It's persistence that took me through my primary school. It's persistence that took me to a secondary school. Even when I did not know where my school fees was going to come from, I knew I was going to go through it. How? It was this persistence and faith. And you know what? It looks like because of that persistence, the world, the earth was moving to make sure that I reached my goal. My goodness, it's just amazing. When I talk about it, I know for sure. And I also know thousands of people who persistence has worked for them. Many people say, gosh, what a hard life you had. But I choose to say, what first-hand authentic training I had. It wasn't easy. In fact, no child should have to have gone through life the way I did. But you know what? For me, I believe that was what was required. Yeah? That was what was required for me to come out and say to you that yes, persistence will take you through many things, many things. Because at the end of it, the results are sweet. It is in those trenches, it's in those mines, it's in those caves that I went through that I not only found diamond, but I have become a proficient diamond detector, a diamond digger, and a diamond evaluator. I stand here today as a proficient guide for all those who want to know how they can go through life, for representing every child who has a dream, who wants to make their dream come true. And I can show them the way because I have been through it. I can show you how to focus on the diamonds. I know the route, and I have a torch, and I have a couple of tricks for this game. You know what? I think children are so fortunate. I think children are so fortunate today that I can speak to them about these principles. Because back then, they didn't teach me this way. I had to crack it myself. It was really hard when I think about it. But you know what? I have first-hand experience. First-hand experience. And you cannot contest against first-hand experience. And I would love to show your child, to guide them, and to show it to them in this nice way, to teach them these principles. Because, boy, learning it, going through it the hard way is not easy. And I must admit, I failed so many times. Why? Because I didn't know. I didn't know that all this, as I tried to align myself with these principles, I didn't know that's what I was doing. I just was going for my goal. But because I didn't know about these principles, I made so many mistakes along the way. So many mistakes. And it took me such a long time to realize. When I look back at my life, there are many obstacles that would have made me give up. But I guess I was so focused on what I wanted that these obstacles lost their power. I shudder sometimes to think of the valley of the shadow of death. And I mean literally. Some of them were death situations that I went through towards achieving the life that I have today. And some of them are so terrifying. Again, I am led to believe there is indeed an invisible power that honors a persistent person, that shines a torch in the darkest of caves so that the person can navigate the cave and collect the treasure. I call this power God. And I am so grateful, even as I speak to you about these principles, just to be able to put a finger on one of them, on each one of them. I am so grateful to be able to identify them and to have even been able to find them out. I found them out the hard way, a very, very hard way. But I can bring them to the children in a nice and organized way. And that is what gives me joy, to be able to present these principles to a child. and show them this is what you can do, this is what we can do. And I show them with a smile, and I show them through a story, and I show them through, through simple exercises, and I see them picking them up and becoming that person. I am so glad that they do not have to go through what I went through. I am so glad. I am so glad. And I'm so thankful. Lovely. Now let's move on to how to help your child develop this attitude, the persistence, and align themselves with this power principle, persistence. Right, I begin to say that persistence can be taught, and indeed the child can acquire it, because it's like building a muscle. Encourage your child to keep going for what they really want, and be ready to cheer them along the way and offer any sort of help or support that they need for them to achieve it. Yeah, encourage them, because it's in overcoming every hurdle. Every hurdle, for every hurdle they overcome, they get more confidence to move on. And they develop persistence. To develop persistence, encourage your child to focus on the finish line. Even when things look tough, always go back to asking them, what do you really want to achieve? Encourage your child to have a mind sight instead of an eyesight. What can they see in their mind? What is it that is propelling them? Encourage your child to focus on the goal. And you know what? The obstacles will lose their power. Tell your child stories of heroes who went on no matter what. The great men and women who achieved great things because they never gave up. Tell them about the power that shines a torch if they will not give up. It looks like, this power will shine a torch and go alongside them and shine a torch in the darkest of caves. I am so grateful even to be able to share this information with you. I just feel so blessed. And you know what gives me more joy is I am so blessed that I am able to organize these principles and bring them to children in a very simple language. A language that they understand, a language that they love. Because I love to tell them stories, and I love to speak to them in a language that they understand. Above all, what I can ask you, be an example. Children tend to feel more of who you are and what you say. What's the vibration that you're constantly sending out? Are you the person, are you the leader, the parent who tends to give up? Because that's what they will pick up. Are you the I can? Are you the I will? Are you the no matter what? Are you the we are winning no matter what? Are you the it is well no matter how it looks? Now this is the attitude of a persistent person, and that's the one that you can continue to show your child. Fantastic. I have given you the 4 irrefutable principles of prosperity and success. Now, I hope you can go out and practice them and align yourself with them. And also teach your child, right? Or find someone who can teach your child these principles, because these are absolutely irrefutable. And then the good thing is that they will work all the time and they do not fail. They are like the principle of gravity. As long as you're on earth, if any man or anything else goes against the principles of gravity, they fall, they will hurt themselves. But if you align yourself with them, with the principle of gravity, if you align yourself with the principle of gravity, you will not get hurt. Right? This is what I'm suggesting, that teach your child Now, I have given you the 4 irrefutable principles of prosperity and success. Now, I would love for you to go out and practice them and align yourself with them, and then teach your child to align themselves with them. And if you're not really ready yet to teach your child, maybe because you don't feel you have mastered them yourself, find someone who can teach your child these principles, because these are the only principles that these are the principles they're gonna need if they're going to be successful. This is it. And they work all the time. Now, I hope you have nominated a school to receive the Safari to Success. Again, Safari to Success is gonna be taking your child step by step on how these principles can work for them. And then we're going to be doing exercises that will help your child, adopt these principles. And as I said earlier, it is so much fun. Your child will not even realize that we are trying to teach them these things. And because it's so much fun, they will love it. And then what happens is these principles, they just work. As soon as you start, for example, the power of praise, as soon as they take it up and start exercising it, it works almost immediately. They start having good friends. They start getting a better mood. They carry themselves highly. My goodness. Right. Go on. Nominate the school that you want to receive this Safari to Success, and let's get on, and let's just do it. You know what? You will be so grateful. A couple of weeks from now, you will be so grateful that we met. As it is, I'm already so excited, so happy to know that your child is going to be changed forever. And you're going to change forever because we met. And I've also been changed because the more I give value to you, the more I receive from you, because I learn as well. I learn from you. I learn from children. Fantastic. Now go ahead, nominate that school that you want to receive this. And actually, I would like to give you another gift. If you invite 5 friends to nominate a school, I'm going to give you one of my favorite poems. And I read it every morning because it makes me move on and go and bust anything. And I'm going to give you that again for free if you invite 5 people. Go ahead now. Invite these people. And thank you so much. You are so worth it. And that's why I brought you all this information. Thank you so much.